All right, so uh, let's just look at the vocabulary. Uh, why is the vocabulary important? Because when you're going to speak as the architect, it is so much better to understand the vocabulary than to try and explain the vocabulary, because you don't know the vocabulary, right? So let's start off with the card. Okay, the card is something you're going to use all the time in all your pages, front end and in the back of the website where you build the functionality. So a card consists of usually an image. It does not have to have an image, a title, a description, and then usually a button. And the image can be maybe replaced with a icon. Now, icons is very important. As I said previously, it gives professionalism, and it is something that is getting more and more, people are familiar with them. As I said, for instance, a question mark is most likely a knowledge base or a FAQ type of page. Gear will be the settings, things like that. So this is how a card looks like. And when you're going to prompt from now on, you can say, create me 3 cards. Here's the images that should be in the cards, and you can even let AI decide what the title and description should be. You can always go and change it afterwards if you don't like it. The next thing is the toast. So you can say this to AI. When someone fills in a form and he did not supply his name that is required, create a little box that pops up and say, please enter your name. Or you can say, on form validation, create toasts on fields that has not been completed but that is required. AI knows what a toast is, AI knows what a card is, and it will know exactly what you talk about. Furthermore, you can later on say, all the toasts on this website, can we give them a bluish neon glow and change the font to something else, and also add a Lucid font that will show a warning or something like that, right? So that's the second thing, is your toast. The next thing is your layout language. So we can talk about a grid, right, with 3 columns, and inside each column should be a card, as an example. Or you can say, place 3 cards, one next to the other, and then below that 3 more cards, and below that 3 more cards. Once you say grid, it's going to create it in such a way that all these cards or images or titles or whatever you have will be perfectly spaced and so forth. All right. Then we have something called a hero section. A hero section will always be where you have a navigation bar to the top. Just below it, you will normally have a hero section that in big bold letters will say something like we don't paint, we create magic. If you're a painting company, something like that. Normally there'll also be a click through action type of button to say subscribe to our newsletter, see our paint range, look at all the cool things we designed. So that's normally all in a Euro section. It's normally a big background image with a bold headline immediately telling you something. So here we can start talking, and it's so easy, really. Create me a nav bar with rounded corners. All links inside the nav bar should have an appropriate icon next to it. Use JavaScript to make all these links inside the navigation bar go from a light gray to a dark gray when someone scrolls over it. The Euro image should be this image. You upload the image, and the text should say in bold, the strong host build your... Damn, alright, doesn't even make sense. But whatever you want to put in there, and then you can have a button or two like subscribe now or read more. Then I want 4 cards in a grid format, or 8 cards in a grid format, 3 columns, and then I need a toast that will always be dark gray for when somebody needs to do something like fill in a form and not supplying details and so forth. So that is very much it about Lingo. There is more. For instance, there is something called a modal, and the modal is where a toast comes up quickly, stays on your screen for 3-4 seconds, and then normally just disappears. A modal will come up as a little window by itself. The web page will become like a fade out background, and you have to say yes, I accept, or cancel, or whatever is asked in that window, and that window will only close down once you did something specific. Click on a button, or even you physically have to close on the right hand corner. There'll probably be an X to close the windows. You can say, for instance, add something to a shopping cart, but use a toast to say product added, and you select the product, add it to a cart, a little roast toast come up, say product added. It's there for 2 seconds and it goes away, and you know the product has been added. That's of course JavaScript, right? Or you can say do a modal, meaning it comes up product added to your screen, and you have to say okay for that window to disappear. So this is the way that you talk to AI when you do web development. Then of course we're going to create only one page now, but the big thing about HTML, I came from that time, the internet was just started, and the great thing was that yes, you can have a one-pager. It's like a document, right? Because even HTML in the beginning was very limited. You couldn't create boxes and things like that. So you just have all this text, but you can put images in there. But what made it nice, and what changed it from just a document on the web page, was hyperlinks, so that you can link to other pages right? It sounds so obvious today, you know, but at that point it was a big thing, because now you can have 10-20 pages, meaning you can have a navigation bar and you can showcase your product pictures. You can have a about us section, frequent asked questions section, maybe even if you're a paint company, how to mix your paints, you know, how to step through things like that. Hyperlinks thus became really the big thing when it was when you know, HTML was introduced. Now, of course, with hyperlinks, it means it's not just 2 pages, because if you can create a second page that is a clickable link that will take you to a page, you can have many hundreds of these links. And we will do it very, very soon. So before, things were extremely static, all right? And then what we start doing is we said, you know what? We can make all this dynamic by adding hoovering toasts. You know, even if you go over, let's say, a cart, you now know what's a cart, right? You can have a little toast popping up and say, this lady lost 20 kilos in 20 days. Right? This lady lost 5 kilos in 8 days. This gentleman lost 4 kilos in 2 weeks, but built muscles, whatever the case may be, right? So your grids become responsive, because the whole grid can come to life with maybe looks like it pops up and so forth. You have smooth animations and so more. So add the toast, 1 sentence command, add to cart, coming soon, things like that. Add toast on a click. You can say subscribe to a newsletter. Once subscribed, toast pops up. Thank you for subscribing. Your free gift is on its way. Here's the grids. So we have the layout. We can make it responsive. We can even, you know, if you have this grid, you can say only show the first 3 things, and when someone scrolls down, pop up the next 3 items in the grid, and then the next 3 items, and so forth. We're going to look next more into the JavaScript stuff, but for this lesson we are done. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye.